I am sure you are all familiar with the symbol of medicine. It is called the rod of Asclepius with a serpent mounted on it. It is a pole with a serpent mounted on it. Does that sound familiar to you? Well, of course, it is what you heard about in today's first reading from the book of Numbers. I understand that the serpent became a symbol of modern medicine because it was when modern medical science discovered the use of the snake's venom that they succeeded in inventing the drug for anesthesia, which has become an essential tool for modern surgery. I imagine what it must have been like back in the ancient days when they performed surgeries without anesthesia. The paradox of it is the very substance that kills can be transformed into a substance that saves lives. You heard the story of the book of Numbers, and I think we can relate to it, especially in this time of pandemic. Meron akong tinext na COVID positive para tanungin siya. Sabi ko, kamusta ka na dyan sa quarantine facility? He answered and he said, I am okay. I don't feel any symptoms. Oh, but it is so boring here. And the food in the quarantine facility is not good. Well, I expected his comment on the food because he is a Kapampangan and has a spoiled palate. But I have also been in touch with many other COVID-positive patients who have varying symptoms, from mild to serious symptoms, and whose concerns are not about boredom, nor about food. What they worry about are the progressive symptoms ranging from loss of smell, loss of taste, to fever, cough, pneumonia, and shortness of breath. And they also suffer from anxiety on what to do in case the symptoms get worse. Kaya, tinext ko itong Kapampangan na COVID positive na nagko-complain about boredom and food. I said to him, salamat na lang sa Diyos, okay ka, at walang symptoms after 8 days. It only means you will be out of there pretty soon if no symptoms develop. Kumpletohin mo na lang yung quarantine mo, and good heavens, stop complaining about boredom and food. Just have a little bit more patience with your situation there. Your complaints are nothing compared to what a lot of other people are going through. Kaya ang advice ko sa kanya, try to pray the rosary with your fellow patients. Cheer them up, your companions. Help out in doing some house chores in the quarantine facility, just to get the attention out of boredom and disgust with the food. Let us now go back to the story of Moses. Do you remember what the Israelites complained about when they got sick of the food that they called manna, which the Lord was sending them in the desert? Listen to their complaint. Sabi nila kay Moses, bakit nilabas mo pa kami sa Egypt? only to die in the desert where there is no food and no water, and we are disgusted with this wretched food. Napansin ba ninyo yung inconsistency? You see, they are complaining about having no food, which is not true. They actually had food. Yun nga lang, nagsawa na sila. They've had enough of it. They're sick of it. And they are longing for all the delicacies that they were enjoying while they were still in Egypt. It's like they're saying they would rather be slaves and have good food than be free and eat nothing but manna in the desert. By the way, did you know bakit manna ang tawag dun sa pagkain nila sa disyerto? The Hebrew word is manhu. And actually, it is a statement with a question mark. What is that? And to get the sense of it, you have to say it not with a tone of curiosity as in, what is that? But with a tone of disgust as in, what is that? Parang yung Tagalog, ano ba yan? Imagine God like a mother. And I think this is the reason why the complaint sounded very unkind and offensive. Imagine God like a mother who takes time to prepare a meal for her children. And then when she serves the food, the children look at the food and they say, yan na naman? That again? Wala nang iba? Don't we have anything else? Wow, how painful that must be for the mother, especially in the context of a lockdown or a pandemic, when you really don't have much choice with food. God, as it were, is saying, stop behaving like brats, spoiled brats. Eat that. Nasa gitna tayo ng disyerto, you are craving for Egyptian delicacies? Unless you learn to have patience eating this food that is available in the desert and which you call wretched food, you will never enjoy the bread of the promised land. Later, in the same book, we're told that the Lord sent them quails, mga pugo, for meat. And you know what happened? They became so greedy, many of them died from overeating. And when Moses buried the dead, alam niyo ang pangalan na nilagay niya sa libingan? In Hebrew, Kivrot Hatava. Meaning to say, graves of greed. In Tagalog, libingan ng matatakaw. And if, in today's readings, afterwards, they encounter snakes. Siguro kung mga Pilipino lang itong mga Israelites, baka hinuli nila yung snakes at niluto rin nila. But let's not get too literal because the serpents here are symbolic. Moses is told to mount a serpent on a pole, and he asks those who have been bitten to look at the serpent in order to be healed. Isn't that interesting? The thing that caused them death now becomes their very means of salvation. It reminds me of what St. Paul says in 2 Corinthians 5:21, "For our sake he made him to be sin who did not know sin, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him." Fast forward, when Jesus is already crucified, hanging on the cross, John would recall the words of the prophet Zechariah in order to suggest that the prophet's word has been fulfilled. And there in Zechariah 12, verse 10, it is written, "When they look on him whom they have pierced, they will mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and they will grieve for him as one grieves over a firstborn."